So hello to everyone who have joined and welcome to a Teen Dash webinar. So today we'll be talking about burnout following the Mental Health Day last week. But before I introduce our expert speakers, a lot of you are here for the first time. So I'll briefly introduce Teen Dash as well. So Teen Dash is an easy-to-use platform for applicant tracking, recruitment marketing, and video interviewing. So as a recruiter, you can do everything in one place. And it's also the most customizable recruitment software on the market because every project can be designed according to your needs with custom automations exactly as you need. And as most of you are in the middle of choosing an ATS for your team, I recommend booking a product tour with us to learn more. And the link is in the chat. But yes, let's just jump in to our today's topic. Why are we talking about burnout? Recruiters have experienced so many changes over the past years, from the pandemic and adapting to remote recruitment to the current economic situation with all the layoffs. You've had to adjust the whole time, and even though us humans, we're good at that, it's still exhausting and creates a high chance for decreased motivation and challenges to maintain a good mental health. We also surveyed all of you, in total 150 recruiters as a part of this webinar's registration, and only 26% of you said you haven't experienced burnout in the past year, and 74% were either not sure or answered yes. And these results reflect the same statistics that have come out from various reports published this year as well. So hopefully the information shared during the next hour will provide some clarity and tools to recognize the signs of burnout and help to manage them. And as our mission at Teen Dash is to make recruiters happy and simplify their work with a recruitment software, the topic of mental health is very close to our hearts, and we want to contribute to your well-being. With me today are two experts who are going to talk about it, Tiina and Birgit. And we will start with Tiina, and I'm going to invite her to the stage now. Also, we have several polls happening throughout the webinar, so make sure to check out that tab as well and answer the questions. Okay. Hi.
Hi.
Okay, good. You're here. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Exciting. So Tiina is an experienced workplace happiness advocate and a consultant, and she'll talk about burnout and bore-out and how they affect work happiness. So take it away. The stage is yours. Make sure you can share the screen and let me know if you have any questions.
Yes. Okay. Yes, I really like to introduce myself that hi, I'm work happiness advocate, and sometimes people are a bit surprised at what this work happiness is and how you can advocate it or how you can measure it. But I have been in that field almost 22 years for now, so quite a long journey already. And yes, I have written 7 books about that topic, and also worked as a career teacher and trainer, and today I also work as a psychologist, a psychotherapist, career counselor, so many different roles. And as we agreed, I'm going to talk about burnout and bore-out, not only about work happiness. And for me personally, that topic is also very important or very exciting, because I meet people individually, and I often see how they struggling with those different syndromes. And when I work with companies and different companies, then I also worried about their emotional and mental health as well. And I am also founder of Happy Me, which is a startup where we are really measure work happiness in workplaces, and we try to engage employees to design or organize their work culture more tailor-made or more human-centric. And I like to cover some of those topics. I want to share with you latest concept of work happiness, and also let's dig a bit deeper about this burnout and bore-out syndrome. Also, why we don't like tension or changes. As Karina said, that this is our life right now, but why our brain doesn't like that. And also, I like to share some tips or some methods how to decrease negative aspects and increase happiness in recruitment field, and how to implement different rituals in order to feel this good balance in our lives. Yeah, firstly, for me has been super interesting what work really means to us, because we know that, yes, at least 8 hours per day we work, sometimes even more. But did you know that this original word comes from slavery, idea of slavery? At least in Estonian, we say töö, and it comes from orjaöö, which is slavery night. And in different languages as well, this origin comes from slaves or slavery. Also labor as word means kind of similar thing. And of course, we don't want to be slaves, and we try to be free. But if we go to workplaces, what we see that there are a lot of different demands. We need to be more effective. We need to do things more and more. We want to earn more profit. We have bigger and bigger goals and KPIs, etc. So basically, we wake up in the morning, and I am personally sometimes feel that I already own something. I'm not free, actually. There is different to-do lists and demands and duties I just need to do, I have to do. And it gives some kind of, anxiety as well. And now, of course, scientists are curious what we need to do in order to not burn out. And they call this concept career without borders. So basically, we want that someone, like our team lead or our boss, asks from us, how can I make you happy? So we wish that our career is more like tailor-made to us. And when I started to wrote my thesis about the work happiness formula, then it was approximately 12 years ago when I first time meet this concept. And I was super excited that, it sounds so right. And now, if you look at newest analysis, then we see that this trend is quite similar. Yes, we know that our work lives comes from loyalty concept, that I give you some value, or I do my work, so please pay me good salary. But then it changed, and we saw that it's not enough anymore. We need something else. We also need that our relationship are like transparent, and we feel like warmness toward our colleagues, and we want to feel this purpose and meaning. And nowadays, if we live in this VUCA world, VUCA means volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity at the same time. So we need that someone also help to keep this balance and grow at the same time. And they also see that in future this work life will be even more lifestyle based. So, and here are the newest trends, and we see that, and it's not maybe good news in recruitment field, because maybe our companies, they still want to put people into boxes, and they want to provide like very, structured work roles. But this is not something that employees or candidates want anymore. They want to do part-time job, they want to do kaleidoscope career, to do like different things at the same time, and so on. So if we know that this ideal version of our work is more like tailor-made, so how do we know that our employees or colleagues are happy? Basically, what we can measure and what we had measured before is job satisfaction and well-being. I can say you right away that job satisfaction is quite old concept. No need to measure satisfaction anymore, because it doesn't give any, ideas or hints what we need to do. But well-being is a better way to understand are our employees really happy, because well-being already has those three components, like psychological well-being and meaning and inspiration, why we are doing that job, who we are making happy, also physical well-being and social part as well. And if we have all those, then we can say that yes, we are flourishing, we are viable, we are happy, and it also influences our income, our happy life in general, or holistic balance, and also it influences our work performance. My personal approach of work happiness showed that we also need to feel concrete results, like mammoth. When caveman killed a mammoth, this mammoth was there, and they got all this dopamine and endorphin and serotonin, all good hormones, and it works nowadays as well. And then we also need to feel that someone recognizes us, or if we do, then if we do our job, we really make someone happy. And finally, my concept also had this third part of being myself and being free, or having my autonomy to decide. So how our work happiness startup Happy Me measures work happiness. One concept what we use almost 10 years for now is work values concept. And as you see here, we have 10 different values. And the question is, if you have to choose your top 3, what would you pick up then? Is it relationship, maybe good atmosphere, transparency, or maybe you need recognition? If you do something, then you feel that they appreciate you. Contribution basically is saving the world. Suitability means that I can use all my skills and knowledge, and maybe not too much changes, but yes, I can be professional. Flexibility is about time and working remotely, or right to decide about content, how to do things. Learning is about professional growth. Responsibility is management responsibility. Innovation, I think it's clear. Security is salary and motivational package. And location is physical location. Now, if you can pick up your top 3, then second question what we ask is how satisfied you are with those values in your current work role. And what we know for now, if those scores are less than 5, then we can already predict burnout, unfortunately, or this frustration is quite high. About burnout, yes, we know that it's kind of mental, emotional, or physical overload. But what I didn't know before I started to investigate it deeper is that it also gives this feeling of negativism and cynicism in workplaces as well. And we can say that people, they are lacking empathy toward colleagues. And also it decreases work efficiency as well. And there are 9 European countries, including Estonia, who really see this burnout syndrome as occupational disease. And if you really have that problem, you can go to visit your doctor, and then they can even compensate you this sick compensation. But about burnout, maybe we haven't talked so much. And this job boredom comes if we feel that there are lack of interesting tasks, or there are too many routine tasks or repetitive tasks I have to do. And this is also like employee ill-being syndrome. And there are authors who have written about it in 2007 already. And they saw that there are also quite risky consequences and also like health problems, which comes from this boredom. And in 2018, was published a book about bullshit jobs. And for me, it's very interesting because all those bullshit jobs, they are lacking this work happiness concept. When we don't feel that there is this mammoth or real outcome, or if I don't feel this feedback that I'm saving someone's life, or I cannot be myself, I cannot use all my potential and strengths. And unfortunately, this boredom lowers our self-esteem, and it also lowers our competitiveness in labor market. And that's why it's not easy thing or easy syndrome to have. And now, when we talk about your field, guys, then what we see regarding burnout, unfortunately, there are different aspects. Yes, we have deadlines. We have. Sometimes we might have negative feedback from candidates or also from our clients. There are always unexpected situations we cannot predict. And there might be conflicting demands, like our clients want one thing and our candidates maybe another thing, or vice versa. And also there might be work overload as well. And at the same time, there is also burnout syndrome, because we might have some bureaucracy that we need to follow. There are repetitive tasks. There are procedures, and also maybe it's like, part of being like machine. I just have to do some things, not to think too much. And as we said already, unfortunately, this burnout and bore-out both causes different symptoms and health problems, as headaches or stomach problems. And we can end up with using different addictions to balance that work overload or boredom. And as we said, we might lack empathy, and we start to be ironic or even use sarcasm in workplaces, which is a very common thing. what we can do then? Firstly, you can take A4 paper and analyze a bit, make it like half and half, and you can just write down tasks I really want to do, I still enjoy. And then another part, you can write down tasks I just have to, I need to, maybe I don't enjoy so much. And now, if you do that, then after you can analyze a proportion of those tasks. And what we need that those I want to task, we have more. Ideal version is 80%. And then 20% we have this I have to tasks. When it's vice versa, then we have huge problem and we can end up with a burnout. In Happy Me, we use another concept, which is Michael Bungley's version of analyzing our work. And basically, we use like 3 categories. Tasks I really enjoy, tasks which are normal, and which are disturbing to me. And again, we use method, how to change things. And all those I hate or I need to do tasks, we need to ask, what happens if I don't do this? Basically, we have to play with this idea. Maybe it's not useful anymore, or maybe I can, just avoid that. But sometimes it's not possible. And then another question is, can someone else do it? Because we are different and we enjoy different things, or maybe we can delegate it. And finally, if those two are not possible, then we try to find ways to do it more smarter or wise way, automate it, or maybe we need to be better time managers to ourselves, or we need some new skills or knowledge to do it like better. Why? Because job crafting basically is only way out from here. And Finnish scientists, they have figured out that people also can make changes at work and use their own initiative and decide about workload or emotional climate. And basically this is like engagement based organizational design. And rituals for work is one of my favorite concepts to do that. Basically, we can have workshops with our team. And what we can change together. We can figure out methods to be gratitude, or to make, gift cards, or giving good feedback to each other. We can find ways to share our experiences or even fails. There was a very good example where one company, they had like fuck up Fridays. Like once a month, they come together and share all those fuck ups, and then they are celebrating it. How to be mentor to each other, to help each other. All about healthy food, exercising, sleep. We can also decide how to guarantee that we have all those. Maybe gatherings, all these small breaks, meditation, finding again and again our purpose, and smiling and supporting each other. And all those aspects can be like guaranteed with small rituals or practices or methods. Japanese have very good concept of utsuwa. Utsuwa is if you put your hands like that, like curved palm, and it means that we are also kind to each other, but we cannot be kind if our utsuwa is empty. And basically, this is very important knowledge how we can nourish ourselves. Do we have like good time with our friends? Do we exercise? Do we have like nice dinner with our family? Do we have our hobbies? Can we travel, and etc.? Basically, we really need to fill our Utsuva and guarantee that it's full, because it's not full, then we cannot actually work with other people at all. Hygge is a concept of coziness, also very important to figure out that our work environment is physically supportive. Ikigai comes from Japan, where they try to guarantee that this being skillful, enjoying our work, also saving the world, and achieving also good results and also good money should be balanced. And if it's not, then karoshi is basically like vice versa concept. It's work death. Fika comes from Sweden, and they have good tradition to have coffee breaks at least 2 times per day, 20 minutes, and then they don't talk about work. This is like very important, not to talk about work. And there is another Danish concept, put. They teach their kids from kindergarten already that if you feel this overload or stress, then no need to scream or being sarcastic, but you have to push button. In Danish, it's put, but it also can say that shit happens, and then we agree that we don't talk about it anymore. Forget it. Chill. Okay, finally, as you see, we have to nourish ourselves. We cannot make others happier than we are personally. That should be like our task or purpose number 1. And if we are balanced, then we actually can provide to others also nice attention and be development vitamins to our colleagues. That was it. What I had to share with you, and yes.
Thank you so much, Tiina. This was so interesting. So many new concepts, some that I had heard of before, but never in a work context, like fika and hygge as well. So this is really cool. And I totally agree that we're looking for more flexibility in an employer nowadays, and kind of trying to have more careers within a company rather than specialize on one. It's more about being a generalist. And I guess because you talked about that the recruiters face the challenge of both being in the danger of burnout and bore out. I guess with that, just to slip in Team Dash here as well, the recruitment software can help prevent some of the danger, I guess, with reducing the repetitive tasks, and you're kind of making the work easier that way. We also, if you have any questions for Tiina, just drop them to the chat or in the questions tab, and we'll try to get to those as well. Also, we asked our viewers how good they think, no, not this one, sorry. How do they describe their relationship with work? So 50% answered it's okay, 42% healthy, and only 8% unhealthy. So you mentioned so many different concepts. What would be this one first step maybe to make your relationship with work a bit healthier?
Okay, yeah. I think sometimes we are not conscious about how unhealthy it is. If we have overload of tasks, then sometimes it's first thing we skip our lunch, for instance, or we tend to have this during we are working, and this is also not good thing. Those are basic things we can do. We can go bed earlier, let's say, and have our 8-hour sleep, and then we start morning with good news or some good breakfast and exercising, and doing small breaks during a workday. Yes, having lunch, definitely. All those small things, and fikas as well. Yes, and I totally agree that if you can automate a routine task, it helps, because then we can have more time to develop ourselves, or be more creative, or trying new things as well. And maybe this control question could be that what I learned today, what was new to me, what was this exciting one good new thing. Basically, it's all about feeling. If I feel like great when I end my workday, then it's good already.
Like doing more self-reflection and kind of check-ins as well, and the basics are important. I especially also struggle with lunch, so every day I have a to-do list of the tasks I have to do, and I also schedule lunch. Just that's one of the tasks, because if I don't have it on the list, sometimes I forget. So yeah, I totally agree. Well, thank you, Tiina. We don't have any questions at the moment, but you can still drop them in. And Tiina, if you stay here, you can maybe answer to them in the chat, or we will answer them later. But thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Okay, so now it's time for our next guest speaker, Birgit. And I will invite her to the stage now.
All right.
Hi.
You can hear me, right?
Yes, everything seems to be good. How are you?
I'm good. I was listening to Tiina and was took some notes. It was really insightful for me as well. And then I was really happy to see that. I think everyone listening, you will also see that there are some themes in what Tiina shared and what I share. And I hope that then those themes will get really ingrained, and you will really take those away from today, as they do seem to be at the crux of what can help you have a sustainable working life and not burn out. Yeah.
And we have a poll with a question: how good do you think you are at recognizing the symptoms of burnout? Only 37% have answered that they're good at this. 23% okay, 23% could be better. So you're going to probably talk about this a little more. So yeah, take it away. Also, Birgit is a self-leadership coach, and she's going to talk about energy management and creating awareness around your personal burnout strategy. So here's a little introduction. Take it away.
Yeah, thank you, Karina. So a few words about me. My background is in HR. So for the past 5-6 years, I've been a self-leadership and career coach, and I worked with people around this topic a fair amount. But before that, I was a recruiter for a few years. I did a little bit of people or HR ops, and then I was in learning and development for the last 3 years before I switched to coaching. So I think I can say that I've been in your world, and happy to share some tips and practices today that I've seen really work and support my clients over these past years. So I will talk about 3 things. The first thing is, like Karina already mentioned, help you think a little bit about your personal burnout strategy. Second, I will share some themes, like most common themes that I've seen in people's strategy, and also how you can tackle these themes, how you can overcome them. And then finally, I will leave you with a tool that you can use to observe and lead yourself better, and as a result, prevent getting to not a very good place, meaning preventing burnout. So let's start with creating some awareness around your personal burnout strategy. So I assume none of us here, if we're here, like we don't want to burn out. But if you did, so if your goal was to burn out, how would you do it? And I actually invite you to think about this. So I will share my screen with you so you can see some examples as well. And I will share the entire screen. Yeah. So yeah, imagine that you had to teach this to someone. You had to give tips to someone. How can you burn out? What would be some of the recommendations that you would give? So you see some common examples here from people's strategies. So perhaps is, really say yes to helping others, even if you're already full and overloaded. Perhaps it's try to make everything perfect and also be really critical of yourself if you don't achieve it. So if you have experienced burnout or you have come close to it, you can think back at your experience. Or if you haven't, then hypothetically, like what do you think would be some important elements to help you get there? And if you have a pen and paper or a space in your laptop where you can take some notes, I invite you to take a moment to really do this. Try to find at least 3 pieces, 3 elements that you would recommend as part of this formula. And then if you're feeling like sharing, then I don't see the chat right now, but Karina is monitoring it. I will have a look at it a bit later. And then others can also see what's a part of your strategy, and you can get inspired by each other in this sense. I'll give you a minute to do that. And then once you have a few written down, the second thing you can do is underline the ones that you see are partially or fully under your control. So which of these you are able to impact? So perhaps constantly thinking about work outside of working hours, definitely something that you can influence. Or always booking back-to-back interviews, also something you can influence. So highlight those that you see are under your control. And then, as you might already have thought about, then this can be your foundation. So if you flip this formula around, you can see like what would be the opposite of that. So what would be a formula for you for sustainable working? And I'm highlighting this because any kind of change starts from awareness. And with this, you're creating awareness around what it would look like for you if you wanted to get there, get to a phase of burnout. And then the next part that I want to talk about, I think will also give you plenty of ideas of if you want to switch your strategy to something else, what could you do? So the first one is foundation. And actually, Tiina already mentioned a few things that I want to highlight here as well. So you can think of this as if you have a car and you want that car to drive well, then you can do all the work you want on the engine, but if you don't have enough fuel in the tank, that car is not going to go very far, right? So the foundation is like the basis of your system to function and to keep going. And probably nothing very new here for you. So sleep and rest. When I say rest, I loved how Tiina mentioned also fika breaks. So for example, every 90 minutes or at least a few times a day, to have a little gap where you don't think about work and where you perhaps go and look outside of the window, or you grab a coffee or a tea and just sit and switch your mind off from work. Perhaps have a conversation with a colleague. Another thing is movement. So especially with you and also me and all of us who are working in a way that we sit a lot, super important to walk, to have regular exercise, to spend time outdoors, nutrition. So also echoing what Tiina said, very foundation is don't skip meals. So don't skip lunch, like Karina mentioned, schedule it in your calendar. What this does at the most basic level is it helps to keep your blood sugar stable. If you want to read a great book about this, not promotional, is The Glucose Revolution, which is also available in Estonian, which talks more about how this helps to, first of all, you have more capacity to deal with stress, And secondly, you're not adding on more stress to your body, because that's what really sharp glucose spikes, meaning if your blood sugar is not stable, that's what it does to your body. And then finally, social connections and joy and play. So this is what we tend to cut out from our days when things get really hectic and intense. But we are social creatures and we need other people. We need meaningful connections in our lives. So really making sure that you have that still, and also that you have something in your weeks at least that you're doing just for fun, just for play. So without any intention to achieve a goal or to get to a certain place, you're just doing it for the sheer joy of enjoying the process. And so my recommendation as well is, if you don't know where to start from here. So what you can even do is like look at this list of 4 or 5 things, and on a scale of 1 to 10, just evaluate where are you right now in each of these. And if anything is below 7, I would give some attention to it, so that you will continue to have that fuel in the tank. Second thing I want to talk about is priorities. And the core idea here is that in order to avoid burnout, you need to know, you need to get clear on, and you need to have the courage to follow your priorities, and also accept that you won't be able to do all of it. So to focus on the things that really move the needle towards your goals. And a few tips here that I've seen be really helpful for people. One is, if you don't already, have a weekly checkpoint with yourself. So this is beneficial for 2 reasons. One, you can take a look back. You can celebrate wins, which is also the final point here. You can review what went well and what can you learn and what didn't go so well. And at the same time, you can take a look to the future, to the next week, and really list out all the things that you think you should be doing, that you want to do. And then from those things, select, if you're familiar with the Pareto principle, you can use the 20-80 approach. So from all of these things, what are the 20% of the tasks that will get me to 80% of my results or outcomes? Because it tends to be the case that some form of input drives more output, meaning some form of tasks gives us proportionally more, contributes proportionally more into our goals. And then another tool is the impact effort matrix. Perhaps you've heard of the urgent important matrix, which you can also use. But the impact effort one essentially helps you to, so once you have a list of all the things you think you should be doing or you want to do next week, you can evaluate each of them on 2 scales and place them in a matrix, where one scale is how much impact will doing this task drive towards me achieving my goals. And the second one is how much effort will it take from me? So effort or energy will it take from me to complete this task? And this will help you sort out which ones are the tasks that with the least amount of effort can get you to the most amount of impact. Second point, also echoing what Tiina said a little bit, is especially with the job crafting idea that she shared, is really zoom in and look at what are some tasks that you would be able to automate. So again, something like Team Dash could be helpful here. I remember when I was a recruiter, I didn't have any software to support me. I was literally just carrying around piles of CVs. It was also some years ago, so that can be my excuse, I guess. But it really wasn't the best and most efficient way to do my job. And so, yeah, think, what else could I automate? Think, what else could I delegate? So, for example, if you have a team, could you swap some things around where some things that perhaps take a lot of time and effort from you, someone else enjoys and can do it in a smoother, more elegant and easy way? And also think, is there anything that we can outsource? So any temporary contractors that we could get on board, or perhaps we do need to hire another person. That can also be a very realistic scenario. And then, yeah, a few more. So one tip that may seem very simple, but I've seen really help people, is to create a very realistic to-do list. Because what we tend to do is overplan. And how you can do that is once you have a list of all the things you want to do during that day, add time frames to each activity. So does it take 10 minutes? Does it take 2 hours? Give an estimate. And then actually sum up all the tasks that you have. How much time would it take to complete these? Just an estimate. And if you see that that is way beyond the number of hours that you have in that day, you know that you need to put some things below the line. So you can still do them if you manage to complete the rest sooner, but you are more realistic, and that will give you a better sense of a better feeling when you wrap up your workday, because otherwise you will always have like this. You will always have the experience of having several things not ticked off, not because you didn't do your job well, but because you just overplanned. And the next one actually goes into the same bucket. So have some buffer time also allocated to anything unexpected that may come up. There tend to be fires, unexpected things that pop up. So would it be maybe 30 minutes per day? Maybe it's 2 hours per week, that you also take that into account. You take emergencies into account when you're planning your week. And celebrating wins, I already mentioned, but I just want to share here from a past recruiter perspective. I remember this was one of the challenging things for me about my job, and you can reflect if you resonate with this or not, that it tended to get quite repetitive at some point. So it was quite cyclical, where I was hiring for some roles, completed them, and then already new ones came up, and it was like this never-ending cycle. So again, to have a moment where you look back and you celebrate and you acknowledge all the things that you got done, for example, in this past week, can really help you to feel better and just recognize all the great work that you're doing already. And then the two final themes that I want to share. So the third one is boundaries. And the crux here is to learn to navigate and regulate the relationship that you have internally with your work and the relationship that you have with the external work environment, including your colleagues. So a few things you can do here. One is think about what is the number of interviews or meetings that works for you, that enables you to work in a way that you're not completely exhausted by the end of the day, and that you have no energy left for anything else. And really stick to that number of meetings and interviews. The second thing is, and this I would say is at the core of it, and I see it be such a challenge for many people, and it definitely has been for me as well, is learning to say no. Learning to say no when someone asks for help and you're really overloaded already and you can't take it on, or when learning to say no to things that are not a priority. So this is quite simple, but not necessarily easy. So a few things you can do here if it's a challenge for you. Number one is for example, when someone approaches you and asks if you could take on board another project or if you could help them with something, and if your default answer tends to be, okay, I'll do it, just pause and just say, I need to think about it. Let me get back to you. So that alone will create the space for you to then go into your own space. And then the question you can ask yourself is, if I say yes to this, what am I saying no to? Because it's always a yes and no game. Anything you take on board, you're saying no to something else, especially if your plate is already full. So if I'm saying yes to a new project, perhaps I'm saying no to some family time, or I'm saying no to another project. So whatever you choose after that will come from a more conscious place rather than from an automatic response that you otherwise would have given. Then working hours, again, mentioned it a little bit already in the foundation piece. Scheduling pauses, agreeing with yourself and your close ones on when you will wrap up your day, and also switch off mentally. So very simple thing, if you're working from the office, leave your laptop in the office or put it in your drawer if you're working from home so you don't see it. Log off or delete apps on your phone that would enable you to reconnect with work. outside of working hours, those could be some tips to start from. And then finally is the mindset piece. So what I see more often than not is people applying different tips and tactics, and sometimes they help and other times they don't. And if that is the case, then I invite you to think about what are the deeper beliefs, or what's the deeper mindset that I carry that fuels the behaviors that take me to burnout. So we all have this internal operating system, this set of different beliefs and how we see the world and how we see ourselves that makes us act in certain ways. And those can be the triggers for us to adopt behaviors that take us towards burnout. So there are a few questions here that can help you start to dig a little bit deeper into this. Like, what do I fear would happen if I stopped working this way, this intensely, or this much? Or if I don't hit my goals, what will that mean about me? And if you haven't done any inner work before, this one can be a bit tricky to work on by yourself. In which case, I really recommend reaching out to a coach or to someone else who can help you untangle this. And I invite you to just read through these examples. So these are beliefs that I've picked up from the coaching sessions that I've had with people that I see can contribute to burnout. The most recent story was I was coaching a woman who is a team lead, and she came to me with wanting to become better at time management. But once we dug into it, because she tried different tips and they hadn't really worked for her, instead of creating yet another system, we dug a bit deeper, and she realized that what's perpetuating the behavior is that she had the belief that she is responsible for the stress levels of her colleagues, meaning people that were in her team. And that resulted in her taking on tasks that weren't really her own, just to make sure that others felt better, but that was taking her to a really dark place. So see how many of these you would tick, or perhaps if there's something else that pops up for you as something that could be influencing you to execute your burnout strategy on a deeper level. And then finally, I want to leave you with a practical tool. So if you imagine, let's use the visual of burnout being like the bottom of a hole. So if you imagine the what do you call it, like the top of the hole or like the edge of the hole, what are some early indicators like on top of that hole that you are starting to head down? So to help you think about this, I'm going to come back to a car metaphor. So if you think about a car and you sit in the driver's seat, you have this dashboard you have like check engine light and fuel is running out light and check oil, all of these different indicator lights. And if you think about it, for example, the fuel light comes on roughly 50 kilometers before you actually run out of fuel. So it lets you know in advance. And the idea here is if you can start to notice, pay attention to, and react to these early indicators for you when it comes to you heading towards that bottom, that's the best place to catch yourself and be able to turn your direction around. So this is another moment where I would invite you to take a few seconds at least and try to identify 3 to 5 early indicators. So this could be, so for me, for sure, it's I notice that my sleep patterns get unhealthy. So I have difficulties falling asleep. Another thing is, getting snappy or easily irritated. I think Tiina mentioned this as well, that we lose empathy towards others because we're just under-resourced. Or perhaps it's something else. So try to find 3 to 5 in your head and also write them down if you have a pen and paper. And I want to show you as well, for those of you who are ready, I want to show you a few examples. So first off, you can always just use an app. So I don't have a recommendation for a specific app off the top of my head, but if you search like habit tracking apps on the App Store, or what's the other one? It's Google Play, I think. I'm sure you'll be able to find something that suits you. Two examples that I'm going to share here. So this is a daily tracking dashboard. So for example, if your indicator is the one that I mentioned, like difficulties falling asleep, I can put that in the first box in the top left corner. And then you can use color coding. So you can color each square either red, yellow, or green. You can use scales from 1 to 10, or you can simply do a tick or a cross, so depending on what the indicator is and what makes most sense. And then the second thing is, the second example is more of a weekly tracking thing. So if you wanted to, for example, with your weekly review moment, to also check in with yourself, how are my indicators doing? This is something that you could use to do that, and it's also slightly more visual than the previous example. So this was the core of what I wanted to share today. So I guess what I want to leave you with, first of all, be aware of your burnout strategy and take stock when you're starting to implement it. The second thing is to be aware of your early indicators. And I would also say share this information, share the indicators with people close to you. So either a few colleagues or family members, because it can be difficult to notice these things on your own at times. So it's really helpful if someone else also knows. And I also want to emphasize a big part of the work really is around coming back to our bodies, because we tend to be so disconnected. So noticing these early indicators is a way to start doing that, is to notice how your body is doing, what does it need, and take steps towards covering its needs. And the final thing that I want to leave you with is to take care of these 4 things. So foundation, priorities, boundaries, and also be willing to do the slightly deeper inner work if you see that can be helpful or necessary. Yeah, that's all from me. Thank you. And I'll be able to see your responses now as well, which is great. Yeah. Anything that you want to ask or share, Karina? We've lost Karina, I guess. But yeah, if there's anything you want to ask me, also you can type it in the chat. I will send out the slideshow. I can also send out I will send it to Karina, the impact effort matrix, and also, some other contact details.
Yes, I'm back. Sorry, it seemed like the internet crashed for a second, but the event was, continued, so it's all good. Anyway, thank you. This was so practical, and I especially relate to the boundaries part, which I need to work on, and the mindset as well. I tend to ask myself whenever I get anxiety, I'm like, what's the worst that can happen? And usually what the worst is isn't that bad. And also when it comes to fear, like, what am I afraid of? What's causing this anxiety? And there are a lot of interesting answers usually there. So thank you for bringing that out. Also, there were some really good strategies to how to burn out that were shared. So I would, for example, highly recommend contributing all your success to luck, and anything that goes wrong to a lack of personal capabilities. Absolutely. This is
that's definitely helpful. Yeah.
Also working longer hours, having no time for hobbies, and connect with yourself, skipping breaks and lunch as well. So all of those things.
And you can see, I just want to add, and you can see how looking at it from this angle brings a bit of lightness to it, right? It's like, if I wanted to actually do it, like, how would I do it? So
yeah, it's like changing the perspective and bringing kind of a bit more humor to it as well, to take it more lightly. Then also we asked the viewers if their employer has any mental health initiatives, and 43% answered that they have some, but that there could be more. Do you have any recommendations or something you've seen that employers do, any mental health initiatives that really help the people to take the time and avoid the burnout potentially, or anything?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. So I know several startups that do things like wellness weeks or well-being weeks, for example, that focus around educating people and building awareness around kind of similar things like we've talked about here today, and giving them some basic tools to support themselves. But I think, honestly, the best way to approach this is if there are one-to-ones between a team lead and their team members, because the team lead is a person who has like most contact from the company with the person. And if within those one-to-ones there are a few questions tied in, that, you know, it could even be as simple as, so on a scale of 1 to 10, so maybe once a month, if you're a team lead, you sit down with your people on a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is I'm feeling energized, happy, and motivated, and 1 is the complete opposite. Where would you place yourself on that scale? And if the team lead sees that for several times in a row, like it's a really low score, or even if it's just one time, they can always ask. It's a good way in to say, okay, so what's making it be a 4, for example? What's making it be a 6? And it can be a bit of a coaching moment to help the person then also come up with, what could you do to move from a 4 to a 5, for example.
Yeah, so my last manager actually did that every week. When we had a one-on-one. It's like that's how we kind of started the meeting. How are you feeling from 1 to 10? It was really good.
Perfect. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We're a bit over time. Hopefully that's fine. But these were such awesome presentations. Hope everyone got a lot of practical information and at least something they can implement to their lives to avoid burnout. So thank you, Birgit. And have a great rest of your day.